Yes.
Yes.
Okay po, wait lang. So yung previous discussion po natin ay yung tatlong methods, cost approach, income approach, at saka yung isa pa,
Cost income, market data or
ayun, market data approach po.
mm,
Tapos, ngayon po, magpo-proceed po tayo sa reporting under mass appraisal of residential buildings and other structures kasi natapos na po yung mass appraisal for land.
mhm.
Si Ma'am Kadag po yung magdi-discuss ng mass appraisal for residential.
Hello po, good evening po. Eugene Kadag po. So, ako po yung magre-report for this part. Naririnig po ako?
Yes.
Yes. Wait lang po.
Yes po, thank you po.
Okay, so mass appraisal of residential buildings and other structures. So the first item here is inspecting the property. But I'll just going to explain po itong mass appraisal ulit. For refresher po. Since naumpisahan na din po yung discussion for mass appraisal din. I think dun sa previous topics. But it says here, mass appraisal is the valuation of a group of properties using common data, standardized methods, and statistical testing, like single property appraisal. Mass appraisal is rooted in three traditional approaches to value, which is the direct comparison, cost, and income. The difference are the scope of work and the tools used to complete the analysis. For municipal authorities that base taxes on the market value of property, mass appraisal is an efficient and cost-effective way to value all properties in a fair, transparent, and consistent manner. Because properties with the same attributes will receive the same value. By using mass assessment, it is possible to produce very accurate values that can be explained to property taxpayers. Then, mass appraisal relies on good quality data and sound market analysis to develop an automated valuation model, or this is the AVM, that estimates property values through mathematical modeling. And then most major assessment jurisdiction used is establish values for taxation purposes for both domestic and non-domestic property po. So the first thing here is the inspecting the property. So it says here each field appraisal and assessment sheet, or FAAS, shall be reviewed to check the accuracy of the property identification number in areas where a cadastral survey has been completed, and the assessment of real property, or ARP number, as well as the tax map listing. The address and physical location of the property must also be matched to the tax map. Okay. So I actually put here as this is a tax declaration po, wherein we can see the property identification number. So this property identification number is a 14-digit numerical code for legal description of a piece of land, at as it has been defined for the purposes of real estate taxation. Each portion of the code sequentially narrows down to the parcel's exact location on the country's tax maps. So this pin is assigned to each parcel in the tax map and reflects the city or municipality, district, barangay, sorry, and section of its location. So you can find your property's pin by using a metal detector, digging or measuring from the center line of the road and the right of way. You may we could also need or we need also a plat map or a certificate survey to guide us. So the location of the pins may vary depending on the age of the type of the subdivision. We also have here yung assessment of real property or ARP number. So dito po sa tax declaration din natin makikita yung number na yan. Um, So this ARP po, this is the number, it is a unique number assigned to each property by the local government units for taxation purposes as well. It is used to identify the property and its owner in the LGU's database. This number is usually found here in the tax declaration po. So a tax map is it's a special purpose map accurately drawn to scale showing all the real property parcels within a city, town, or village. So, na-discuss po kasi kanina yung tax map. So, na-explain ko lang ng kaunti po yung tax map. Then, next slide po. Ayan. So, next po yung sa inspecting ng property is the interior inspection and inventory. Says here, where possible, an interview with the owner for the property information will be helpful. History and sales information during the interior inspection, room inventory, layout, functional utility, and quality of materials and construction, as well as any deferred maintenance shall be noted. This feature shall be recorded also on the FAAS sheets. So, this FAAS sheets po, ito po yung a document required from real property owners when paying their real property tax. It is issued when there is a transfer of ownership. So the FAAS is reviewed by the provincial assessor's office to determine the correctness of the RPUs clarification or classifications, application of the schedule of the market values, and assessment levels. The Department of Agrarian Reform po also prepares and approves the revised field appraisal and assessment sheet or the field sheet. So this RPU, that is the revenue per user. So sometimes also referred to as revenue per unit. This is a measure to use to understand the revenue generating ability of a program or service at the individual customer level. Next slide po. Ay, by the way po, ito yung sample po ng FAAS sheet po dito sa right side. Next sheet po. Or next slide, thank you. So, next po, letter C, exterior inspection and inventory. So, during the inspection of the exterior, the quality of materials and workmanship, basic design of the house, and any relating to its physical condition should also be noted. And then lastly, yung letter D po, measure residential improvement and plotting diagram. So the residential improvement shall be measured as well as all outbuildings and yard improvements such as driveways and retaining walls. This measurement shall be plotted on a permanent diagram sheet, keeping the outbuildings and yard improvements in proper relationship to the residential improvement on the permanent diagram sheet. So yun po. Thank you po.
Thank you. Okay, let me take note pala.
Yes po. Ano po yung i-take note?
Ano yung names?
Sorry si Ma'am Eugem. Unfortunately, Prof, nag-drop na po si Ma'am Ana Maritan. Sa kanya po itong establishing market area at saka yung reproduction cost new, saka cost of replacement na na elaboration. So, ako na lang po magre-report.
Oh, sige.
Basta
I-ano mo
group.
lang. Just tell us the important details lang.
Okay po. So under establishing the market area is a group of properties that share important characteristics. It is a distinct group of properties often identified by a geographical physical boundary or a group of property that reacts in a similar manner to market influences.
Mhm.
Um, we look back sa previous report talking about reproduction cost new and the cost of replacement under the cost approach. So reproduction cost approach new RCN is the cost of production or constructing the property in the like with the current prices with the same materials, construction or manufacturing standards. The reproduction cost new is the direct cost of the property, and based dun sa previous reporting, the cost approach is direct cost plus indirect cost. An RCN, it is according po dun sa yung sinanyo po na video last time, yung
Mm.
reviewer for the bar, it says na it's often used for government properties or properties na there are no other ways to assess the value.
Mhm.
So we use that, and then we talk about the other one, yung cost of replacement or COR. It is the cost of producing or constructing a property equivalent to the current prices lang of modern materials. So we talk about those two definitions because it becomes important here sa estimating cost approach new. Ana Maritan on her report said na building construction costs can be obtained from local contractors, engineers, and other industry professionals. The cost of minor improvements such as property walls, fences, and swimming pools can provide essential data for keeping appraisals accurate and uniform. Actual construction costs, which include direct and indirect costs, will be more readily available than sales of the property where the cost can be abstracted. So yung sinabing dito sa third bullet point, it says direct and indirect cost. That's yung RCN and COR that Ma'am Henny Landayan mentioned sa report niya. Other important market information sources, including local building costs, such as material prices, labor rates, and price comparison of builders' models homes are also included in the estimation of the cost approach new. Sometimes when the information is scarce, you also use the information from neighboring local government units. Make sure lang the local government unit of comparison is similar. Hindi naman pwedeng Makati versus Pateros or ganun. Hindi po siya
Mhm.
magiging accurate.
Okay.
We talk about the prevailing cost of reproduction or yun. So overall, she said that there are depreciation benchmarks, present conditions, depreciation schedules, adjustments, land value maps, reappraisal of the properties that need to be physically inspected, inspection levels, and quality control measures. So we talk about depreciation benchmarks. Depreciation is simply the loss of value due to all causes. In most cases, land does not depreciate unless it is degraded by erosion, improper use, or perhaps zoning changes. So if one is asked to compute for yung RCN, usually you compute for yung depreciation on the building, and then after you follow the formula, saka po i-add yung value ng land kasi the
Land.
land does not depreciate.
Okay.
Tama po ba, Prof?
Yes, that's
Opo,
correct.
yun.
That's correct.
And then after that, we talk about the concept of benchmarking. It is the standard of measurement used to analyze the financial characteristics of a real estate investment property. So it could be classified according to its cost, physical deterioration, functional obsolescence, and then external obsolescence. Under the present condition, the example would be measuring the present condition or present good, adjusted sales price, and then the land price. Tapos totally improvement
Miss
residual.
Lara, excuse me. Ako
Ay,
na ata yan.
oo,
Sorry.
sige.
Ay,
Sorry.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
Mas
Thank
maganda
you.
po na si ma'am na lang mag-tackle. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Miss
Okay.
Lara. Oo.
Okay po. Thank you.
Good evening po. Good evening, sir and classmates. So, Jermaine Bustamante. For continuation, depreciation benchmarks, the next step in the pre-appraisal setup is to establish market depreciation factors for the reappraisal area, depreciation benchmarks, and depreciation schedules. What is depreciation? So it is simply loss of value due to all causes. In the most cases, land does not depreciate unless it is degraded by erosion, improper use, or perhaps zoning changes. Ito yung pagbabawas or pagbaba ng halaga ng isang property.
Mhm.
Benchmarking is the standard of measurement used to analyze the financial characteristic of real estate investment property. Depreciation can be classified according to its cause. Physical deterioration, the depreciation of structures due to wear and tear. It is normal depreciation of an asset from ongoing usage even when it's properly maintained. So next is functional obsolescence. Is the reduction of an asset usefulness or desirability because of an outdated design, features that can be easily changed or updated. It is happen when the desirability of an property decreases due to its design or an outdated features. And practically, yung mga too small living rooms or parking. The next is external obsolescence. It is the loss of value caused by external factors such as the surrounding property, environment, or other factors that may decreases the property value. Ito yung mga form of depreciation caused by external factors, not on the property itself, such as environmental, social, or economic forces. Example nun, yung mga property near the garbage dump or noise pollution. Typically speaking, properties become less desirable when they are located in nice area o kaya yung malapit sa mga traffic area, gano'n. Next slide po. Thank you po. Present condition. So the step creating depreciation benchmarks are as follows. If number one, so if necessary, adjust the sales price for such thing as time, personal property, and addition after the sale. Estimate the price paid for the land using the schedule of fair market value for each property being studied. Measure and compute replacement costs using the local cost factors. Note and any functional or external obsolescences. Next, subtract the price paid for the land and other land improvements from the adjusted sales price to arrive at an indicated total improvement value. Subtract the depreciated value of other land improvement to find house and attached garage value only. And divide the residual house and corporate garage value by cost replacement to arrive at the present condition indicated by the market. So dito po, yung 87%, the present condition is 87% good in this example. It is represent the remaining percent good of the improvement after the market has accounted for physical depreciation and functional and external obsolescences. Next slide po. Thank you po. Depreciation schedule. What is a depreciation schedule? Depreciation schedule is a table that shows how much each of your assets will be depreciated over the years. So once the depreciation benchmarks are completed, the indication of market value current condition, percent good, must be combined into a depreciation schedule. To produce an accurate depreciation schedule, only the benchmarks of properties that are typical to the neighborhood shall be used. Sales of properties that exhibit a high degree of deferred maintenance, unusual functional obsolescence that have been recently remodeled or had a change of use shall not be included. There are two methods to develop depreciation schedules. In the first method, the preliminary depreciation benchmarks are tabulated to give a range for each class, type, and age, then choose the proper percent good for each actual age grouping. From this base information, a depreciation schedule for all actual ages can be developed. The second and preferred method is developed by plotting the current condition on a graph. The vertical axis represents current condition, percent good, and the horizontal axis represent actual age. After the typical sales are plotted on the graph, the depreciation curve to represent the certain line of the plotted sales shall be drawn. From this graph, a depreciation schedule can be developed. The next step is a quality control measure, an appraisal of the sales used in the depreciation study, applying the indicated percent good from the new depreciation schedule. This will be give a new appraised value that, when divided by the sale price, provide a ratio comparison between the new appraised value and the sale price. So may ano siya, may may computation siya. Ayun, new appraised value divided to sales price equals to ratio. This ratio can be used to ensure that schedules are performing correctly. Next slide po. Adjustments. An appraisal adjustment is usually a small line term addition or subtraction from the value of a comparable property. This is done to account for any changes in demand attributable to each external and external factor. Once the typical depreciation schedule are completed, the non-typical sales are plotted and compared to establish the relationship to the base schedule. When plotting the non-typical sales, these sales shall be differentiated so they are easily recognized. One such adjustment would be for houses with more or less than typical maintenance. These adjustments is referred to as effective age. Effective age is derived from how the market reacts to the properties that are different from the typical house in the market area. So the step to develop an adjustments are plot non-typical sales on a scatter graph. Select a representative point from the non-typical sales. Establish the relationship from the normal depreciation schedule to the selected representative point. So ito, for example po, a 30-year-old house was recently remodeled and reconditioned. The comparison of a 30-year-old recently remodeled houses to the base depreciation schedule shows that these houses sell the same as 20-year-old houses. The actual age is 30 years, but the effective age is 20 years. In other words, the condition of this property is like a 20-year-old house and is selling like a 20-year-old house.
Okay.
Effective age allows an appraiser to group remodeled or recondition house into the appropriate age grouping.
Okay. Sige. Ay, quick
okay na po.
question na lang siguro sa lahat. So, yung kakasabi lang ni Miss Charmaine na yung 20-year-old daw, meron daw dalawang house. Mayroong 20-year-old tsaka 30-year-old. Let's say given na lang na halos lahat ng factors pareho lang, 2 bedrooms, 2-car garage, 2 toilets and bath, 2 stories, yan. Pero yung isa nga 30-year-old, yung isa 20-year-old. So yung 30-year-old daw na house, ni-renovate, ni-remodel. Okay. Sino ang magsasabi na ang effective age nitong 30-year-old house is 20-year-old. At paano na-derive yung effective age na 20? Anyone?
Appraiser po, di po ba?
Yes,
Kasi
Appraiser.
may
yes.
formula po eh, di po ba? Ima-minus yung,
Mhm.
if I remember it right, effective
Age.
age and economic life. Parang ganun po ba? Tama ba yung tanda ko?
Yung economic life fix naman yon. Isa lang yung economic life nung dalawang house na yon. House 1 and house 2. Oo. So, paano masasabi na kasi ni-remodel so ang ilalagay ko dito na effective age is 20 years kahit na 30-year-old na yung actual age.
Kung gagamitin yung quantity method, yung materials na ginamit sa pagre-renovate, not sure.
Uh, hindi kasi ang problema diyan, minsan yung mismong yung nagpa-renovate hindi alam anong nangyari nung renovation, basta gumastos lang. Tapos ikaw dumating ka lang nung na-renovate na, sabi lang sa'yo, "Ay pina-remodel ko po 'to." Kaya po pala medyo gumanda. So, how did you get the -10 na -10 sa effective age? Oo nga, tama naman si Miss, Landayan na na-extend ang economic life. Pero ah, paano na-derive yun yung number na 20 from 30? Naging 20 yung effective age. Okay. Anyone? Sa occupancy permit? Hindi. Wala nang kinalaman by then yung occupancy permit na natirahan na nga ng 30 years, eh. Oo. Sige. Hindi,
Building
actually
permit.
ano lang 'to, teaching opportunity lang 'to. Ah, ah, Tama naman na yung appraiser, actually yun lang, fundamentally ang sagot lang yung appraiser. Bakit? Opinyon lang 'yan.
Yun.
Opinyon lang talaga 'yan. Walang formula diyan. Yung tiningnan ng appraiser, "Ay mukhang 20 years lang po." Yun lang yun. Oo.
Opinion of value.
Opinion of ano lang, effective age lang. I mean, I just pointed it out para kasi yung iba na yung mga first term, baka takot na takot kayo sa appraisal. Fundamentally, siguro half ng appraisal, opinion lang, very subjective. Oh, yes. Opinion at the date of valuation. That's correct. Yun, wala lang, gusto ko lang na as early as now, na-realize nung mga bagong enrollee na, huwag kayong matakot sa appraisal kasi kahit yung 50 years nang nag-a-appraise, nag-o-opinion pa rin yun. Walang totoong math yung iba dun. Ang mga totoong math yung data approach, yung market data approach, yung income approach, tsaka yung cost approach. Pero other than that, puro opinion yun. Oo. Alright. Yun lang naman. Okay, continue.
Sir, pwedeng hindi pala sundin yung amount na binigay nung appraisal kung ganun po, sir.
Oo naman. Oo.
Depende pa rin dun sa client, sir, no? Kung
Yes. Nagiging baseline lang naman yung appraisal value, eh, para at least maramdaman mo na, anything lower than this, lugi na ako 'pag binenta ko. So, anything more, masaya siya, 'di ba?
parang basis lang yun, sir, na ganito yung amount ng isang
Oo.
property.
Especially yung mga minana na, 3 generation na, so hindi mo na talaga alam kung magkano yun. So, 'pag sinabi ng appraiser na, ito pong 30-year-old na bahay niyo, 25 million. So, ikaw naman, hindi mo ibebenta hangga't maaari ng lower than 25, 'di ba?
Hmm.
Gano'n lang naman siya.
Sir, if I may,
Yes, miss.
I may add, opo, kasi I work in the LGU. Sa LGU po kasi nagmamatter yung appraisal value ng, let's say, ang isang municipality would want to buy a property. We
Mhm.
seek the opinion of the provincial
Ay,
appraisal
provincial
committee.
assessor.
So we
Oo.
cannot go beyond, alam mo, may gusto property.
Mm.
We cannot go beyond the appraised value
Mm.
ng board kasi ma-overpricing naman kami.
Yes.
We can be
Mm.
charged per property.
Oo.
So sa LGU nagmamatter po
Yes.
yun.
No, definitely
Kung
within
kung
the
ng coffee shop
Sorry.
or
Okay.
mini bar na.
Okay. Hello? So definitely within the government, iba yun kasi the provincial assessor and the city assessor, sila nga yung ano eh, end all and be all of the assessment of of properties. Pero sa labas, sa private practice, yun, it's really just an opinion. Oh, yun.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Yes, any more? Yeah, continue na pala.
The next reporter po si Carissa Victorino. Thank you po.
All right.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Good
sir. Yes, miss, sorry. Oo.
Good evening, classmates. So I am Carissa Victorino, next reporter. So for the continuation, we have the land value maps. Pertinent information shall be placed on the land value maps so that the appraisers and supervisors have an index to the benchmarks and market data. In this way, each appraiser and supervisor will have a ready visual display of the market data on each land value map. So what are the information that placed on the maps? These are the benchmarks, all sales, recent asking prices, offer, zoning, road information, statistical building class, depreciation, and other appraisal data deemed necessary. These data help establish equity and uniformity. They also serve as an effective review tool. So next slide po. Next is the reappraisal of properties that need to be physically inspected. So the pre-appraisal setup is now complete since the land values, land schedules, LCL factors, class benchmarks, and depreciation benchmarks have been developed and the field maps are noted with the details. So to begin the appraisal, the staff shall be equipped with the items shown in the screen. So each property shall be physically inspected where possible. This shall include both interior and exterior inspection and the work around the structure. The property owner's security arrangements may preclude a full inspection and the record should be noted accordingly. When new construction is involved, all efforts shall be made to inspect and measure up to obtain details. Next slide po. Next is the inspection levels. The level of property inspection depends on the quality of the field records or FAAS, which is discussed a while ago, and various other factors such as years of last reappraisal, level of new construction, local changes, and changes in the building cost because of changes in code requirements and new materials design, and etc. Correcting appraisal deficiencies generally requires some level of physical inspection of the property. Different levels of inspection will be required depending upon the reason or reasons found for the deficiency. Next slide po. Okay. So we have 4 levels po. Level 1, a full inspection is made with an attempt to make a full interior inspection. Level 2, an exterior inspection is made. So here in level 2, there is no attempt in an interior inspection unless a major change to the property is detected. Then level 3, a street inspection is conducted. This is more like a drive-by inspection, only to check unless, again, major change to the property is detected. So level 4 is no on-site inspection is made. Market data are analyzed to determine changes in the market so that the property should be adjusted to market value. Values are modified by applying the line adjustments or by recalculation of basic tables developed from reappraisal studies. there is attempt to conduct an interior inspection is made unless a major change to the property is detected. So the last one is the quality control measures. After placing a map group of properties, give all completed work are given to the assessor or the supervising appraiser. The supervisor conducts a field review of the appraisals to ensure that accuracy and uniformity are maintained within the map group as well as 100 appraisers and all other map groups. At this point, the final responsibility for uniformity and equity rests with the assessor or the supervising appraiser. So the supervisor's field review shall be conducted as soon as possible after receiving the completed appraisals. Adjustments or correction can be made before the appraiser completes other map groups. So in conducting the field review, the supervisor shall check appraisals in the relation to the benchmarks. Also, the land and depreciation schedule shall be developed for the neighborhood. This will require an occasional interior and exterior physical inspection to review accuracy of property data. If errors are found, more properties should be inspected. The errors should be documented and reviewed with the appraiser so that corrective action can be taken. That's the end of my report po. Again, this is Carissa Victorino po. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Alright.
Hello po, sir. I'm
Yes, sir.
Aldrich Flores. Hello, classmates. So, ang didiscuss ko ngayon is yung mass appraisal of commercial properties. So, number one, valuing commercial property. So, ang sabi dito, pag mag-value ka daw ng different types ng properties, tulad ng commercial, industrial, or residential properties, may mga similar approaches na pwedeng i-apply. Pero sa commercial property, mas malawak siya compared sa residential or industrial property. Unang-una sa building design, sa construction materials, at yung sa quality levels na dapat natin i-consider para accurate yung assessment natin. Ito kasi yung mga characteristics and variables na may malaking impact sa value ng property. Number two, income producing potential. Pag-appraise ng commercial property, importante na malaman natin yung income producing potential nito, lalo na sa mga property na kadalasang binibili or binebenta for investment purposes. So ano ba yung income producing potential? Una, kailangan natin mag-gather ng data about sa rental rates. So magkano ba yung bayad sa renta ng mga similar properties within the area? Pangalawa, kailangan nating malaman yung typical income and expense items. So under ng income item, ang sample nito is yung mga revenue generated from rent. Also included dito yung mga parking fees. So ano naman yung expense items? Ito yung property taxes, yung insurance, yung maintenance, yung utilities. Kailangan din nating malaman yung capitalization rates. So ito yung potential return mo dun sa real estate investment. So number 3, establishing benchmarks in data collection. So pag mag-appraise din, kailangan natin makapag-establish ng benchmark or yung mga standards. Kasi ito yung mga serve as reference point for comparison and evaluation. So ano ba yung mga standards? Ito yung mga physical characteristics ng property tulad ng size, location, amenities, yung age ng building, yung condition. At para makapag-create din tayo ng mga inventory properties that will serve as basis for scheduling and conducting assessments. So if kulang daw yung data natin, pwedeng yung staff ni assessor, pwedeng mag-conduct ng inspection to gather additional information for accurate assessments. So next slide po. Ito pinakita lang dito yung prevailing cost reproduction cost new. So next slide po. So ito daw, ano daw yung procedures for mass appraisal ng commercial properties. So number 1, kailangan nating iset yung valuation date. Number 2, alamin natin yung specific area na i-appraise. Number 3, syempre yung gathering ng data tulad ng mga sales data, asking prices, zoning regulations. Number 4, kailangan establish yung base unit values and make adjustments. Number 5, yung benchmarks. Number 6, yung local construction costs. How much na ba ngayon yung construction cost? Number 7, depreciation trends in the market area. Number 8, evaluate income and expense related to the property. Number 9, calculate rates to estimate property value based on income potential. Number 10, establish standards for comparison based on market data. So number 11, kailangan natin mag-inspect. In 12, 13, 14, kailangan natin mag-calculate using the cost approach method, income approach, and the market approach. After nun, syempre, compare natin, tapos pagsamahin natin yung mga result na nag-gather natin using those 3 approaches. And then, i-review natin ulit yung process para masiguro natin yung consistency and accuracy ng ating valuation. So, next slide po. So, section 5, preparation of the schedule of fair market values. Ang sabi lang dito, bago daw magkaroon ng general revision of real estate property assessment, kailangan muna mag-prepare ng SFMB for different classes of real property ng mga provincial, city, and municipal assessors sa Metro Manila. So once prepared na yung schedule fair market values, kailangan magpasa ng ordinance yung sanggunian to formally approve it. Sabi rin na dapat nakapublish sa newspaper or if wala naman ganun dun, dapat posted sa provincial capital, city hall, or to other prominent place. Sabi din, sa Metro Manila daw, dapat mag-discuss, mag-compare, and harmonize yung mga arrive na fair market values, yung mga district assessors para mapanatili yung fairness and uniformity. Kung under naman sa miscellaneous provisions, sabi lang, may dito sa batas na allowed yung assessors to independently classify, value, and assess yung isang real property na hindi kasama sa approved SFMB. So, sa next slide po. Establishing base valuation date. So, ang base valuation date daw, ang starting point sa pag-assess ng property values. Lagi itong nakaset as January 1 of the first year of the general revision of assessments. This will serve as reference point for all future adjustments. Ang purpose kasi nito is para consistent yung time adjustments na gagawin for all the properties. Kasi alam na sa paglipas ng panahon, yung market nakaka-experience ng fluctuations like inflation at recession. So to consider these changes, ginagawa natin yung time adjustments to the property values kung saan ina-express din natin to as percent increase or decrease based on prevailing market trends during that period. Sabi rin sa pag-analyze daw ng comparable properties, mas maganda na close siya sa base valuation date as possible for accuracy. Tapos, pwede rin daw i-consider yung mga sales occur after the base valuation date. Basta, dapat lang na i-adjust siya sa base valuation date. Sabi rin, during the yearly maintenance program, kung mayroong mga bagong construction or changes sa property, kailangan natin itong i-consider. Siyempre, pag in-adjust natin siya, based pa rin dun sa ating base valuation date. And last, dapat i-apply natin yung yearly adjustment para updated yung property assessment with current market trend. Yun lang, sir.
Okay. Yes. Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, for nag-provide po kami ng examples ng forms. Pero as of current, si Ma'am Buong Galing po yung mag-represent. Pero po she's on transit po kasi pauwi pa lang po siya.
Okay.
So, maaari pong ma-skip po natin yung presentation.
Yeah,
Sa
medyo maganda. Patingin nga anong forms
anong
niya.
forms? Okay po, okay.
Para
Mas maganda po kasi siya yung mag-explain. Pero detailed po siya. Like,
okay.
nandito yung
Saan pa,
nagulat
no?
din po ako nung nakita ko eh. Ang
Oo.
galing nga. What do
Sige,
you
sige. So, hintayin natin siya.
Prof, do you
For-
think it would be appropriate if after na lang mag-report ng lahat, niya i-present yung forms, or she could present it next meeting kaagad, immediately after, before we start?
Meron pa ba after her?
Opo,
Ano yung topic na next para makita natin kung ano? Kung very
Classification of buildings and structures.
pwede yan. Okay lang yan. Wala
Sige
namang
po.
masyadong ano yan,
Sorry, sir.
consequence.
Sir, on the road pa po kasi ako. Sorry
Yes,
po.
yes.
Medyo,
Opo.
No
I'll
Okay.
just
problem, no
present.
problem. Thank you.
Opo, thank
Para
you
po
so
safe siya. Ganun, sure.
Thank
Oo.
you po. Bye-bye po.
Oo. Unahin na natin 'to para matapos na rin.
So
5
mag-skip
minutes,
po tayo
kaya?
sa 7. Yes po.
Yes, sir, kaya po.
Okay.
Ayan. Si Sir Dane.
Ayan, sir. Good evening. Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Yes.
classmates. So,
Meaning,
yung report ko po is in connection po dun sa una pong reporter, which is supposed to be the section 5 po ng manual, preparation of the schedule of fair market values. So what is assigned to me po is yung classification of building structures. So generally po, according to the manual, buildings shall be generally classified in accordance with the structural design which they were intended. And under the use of design classification, buildings can be grouped into 4 categories. So that's residential buildings, commercial buildings, industrial buildings, and agricultural structures. So since napag-aralan na rin po natin yung sa residential buildings, ang king hapyaw na lang din po ito. So example of this is single detached. Yung kanina po na pag-usapan natin, basically they're open spaces on all sides. Then we also have duplex. So basically these are 2 living units or two houses na magkadikit, which is attached to each other, but they're not in cluster, but in 2 groups, in 2 units, 2 unit groupings only.
okay.
Then we have apartments and row houses, which is basically cluster of houses. Then townhouses, which is here in the Philippines, is a common term pertaining to 2 to 3 story of buildings that are also in clusters, and condominiums, which are buildings. And we don't necessarily sell the lots, but the units in the buildings. So for commercial buildings naman, some example of this is office, which is for administrative work, banks for bank and business, theater, example of this is cinema, hotel and motel for place of lodging, parking buildings, which is for cars, motorcycle, and bicycle parking, this is an entire establishment dedicated for this. And aside from this, we also have retail stores, restaurant, healthcare facilities, and any other income-generating establishments. Then for industrial buildings naman, we can categorize this into 2. First is the factory, which is basically intended for industrial operations and production services, while the warehouses or bodega is for storage. Then for agricultural structures naman, we have barn, which is typically used for storage ng mga farm materials. Poultry houses, usually ito yung para mga itikan. Then stables, which is for horses. This is structure for horses, hog house. So this is structures for pig farms. Then we have greenhouses for which is basically a parang transparent roof establishment for growing crops and plants. So after we've been able to categorize the building structure into 4, we also need to categorize this according to the types of construction used. So when we're categorizing it, so according sa manual, we can categorize it according to the fire resistance ng mismong construction na ginamit po, yung construction material na ginamit. So why we are doing this? Because we wanted to get the base unit construction cost, which we will be using when we're establishing the schedule ng fair market value. So first po is yung type 1. So basically, ko na lang po siya, summarize ko na lang. So for type 1, so imagine a nipa hut. So all materials used on the structures are made of wood. So it's very ito yung pinaka least resistant when it comes to fire among the 5 types of construction. The second is type 2, which is basically wood with protective fire resistant materials. So imagine also a wood structure din siya. Tapos meron siya, let's say, GI sheet roofing. Then meron siyang onting fire resistant material. So it's more resistant compared to type 1. Then for type 3 building, so ito na yung with masonry and wood. So it's a combination na. So ito naman, meron siyang 1 hour fire resistant yung materials na ginamit throughout the exterior walls. Then for the type 4 naman, it's steel, iron, and concrete or masonry, which is basically, ito yung as in wala ng wood na ginagamit tayo. So, meron siyang fire resistance, yung buong exterior ng walls, and except yung sa interiors, yung meron yung mga dry walls. Usually, ito yun, para combination of concrete and dry walls dun sa interior divisions. Then yung type 5 buildings naman. So it's also steel, iron, and concrete or masonry, but all throughout, so ano na siya, may fire resistance siya, including yung interior walls. So aside from this, other extra component parts ng building, next slide po. Next slide po. Yes po, yeah. So aside from this, so other extra component parts ng buildings. So di ba kanina kinuha natin yung base unit construction cost. So that is referring to the building itself, sa structures. And aside from that, we also need to derive yung mga iba pang parts ng structures aside from the main part, which may include carport, mezzanine, porch, balcony, garage, terrace, and whether if it's a covered or open type. We also have roof deck, basement, pavement, floor finishings. So what's the material used for floor finishings? Be it marble tiles, ganyan. And we also have yung mga special glass panels, yung mga slidings na ginamit, like for example, yung mga gates, finishings, like that. So that's basically the classification and the classification ng mga building structure. Ito po.
All right. What's after this?
Okay po. So far po, Prof, yung next po ay summary po, at saka yung talking about yung kung paano ginagawa ng assessor's office yung schedule of fair market value. Tapos yung time. Pero 9:01 na po. Tapos
Yes.
i-discuss din po yung types of forms. So discuss pa rin po ba namin now or kahit
Hindi
next
na.
week?
Next meeting na.
Okay,
Actually,
next week.
until September pa pala tayo. So, marami pa talagang time. Oo.
So,
Sige.
marami pong time para sa special topics. Ganun.
Okay. Sige. By the way, ano lang, kung if you are graduating, if this is your last term and you are graduating after this term, please send me a PM, a message, so I can take note kasi I have to give you an earlier exam. Yun lang naman. So, ayun. All right. So, everyone, attendance, page 1, 1, 2, 3. Page 2, 1, 2, 3. Page 3, 1, 2, 3. And page 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sige. Thank you everyone. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you
nakasara
po.
pala yung camera. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Night.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.